We'll have the welcome introductions. We'll go over the rules of engagement, Silver Line project overview, milestones that we've achieved most recently, go over the operations of the project. We'll talk about a little bit about the public hearing, and then how you can stay informed and connected with us. I want to remind everyone, there is an audio and video recording in progress, and we'll get this meeting up probably by the end of the week. So if you want to have go back and look and something you missed, you can go back and document it on the Silver Line website. So brief rundown. We'll open the room for questions, comments at the end of each section. So, please hold your questions until then. Raise your hand. Someone will bring a mic to you. Christine in the back, she'll walk over, give you that. At that time, you'll have the floor. You can ask your question, give us a minute. If myself can't answer it, we'll get someone else from our team that specializes in that area that gets you the answer that you might need. If you don't want to ask your question, you'd rather submit a card, we can bring a card to you, and then we'll take care of that question at the end of the presentation as well. So as I said, we have several team members here. Trey Walker is the VP of Construction Capital Design is with us, as is Chris Walters, who's your community engagement representative. He works with us on the Silver Line, but also handles all things DART related. So if you have questions about service or anything else going on with DART, reach out to Chris here at the meeting or afterwards. We also have our Silver Line project team from AWH. Matt Henseth is the project manager, and Olivia Wright, she oversees a lot of the stuff that's going on here in Richardson. She'll cover the construction portion. As I said, this is the first of our second round of biannuals. We did the first round back in January. We'll be covering the same topics with more specific city information to those cities at different times. So if you got friends, please let them know. Or if you're curious what's going on in Plano nearby, then come back and see us on Thursday. So if you're not very familiar with the project, we'll give you an overview here. It's a 26-mile alignment. We serve 7 cities, crosses 3 counties, starts at in Plano on the far east side at Shiloh Road, goes through Richardson into Addison, North Dallas, Carrollton, continues into Coppell, into Grapevine, and then ends at DFW Airport. Here in Richardson, you have 2 stations serving you directly, one at UT Dallas and one at the City Line Bush station. So the City Line Bush is a sister station to the light rail station that's already there. You'll have connectivity points to bus transportation, light rail, and other measures to get around. The whole purpose of this project is to increase mobility in the area. As I was talking to a couple members of the committee that were here, as we all know, the DFW area is growing, especially Collin County is growing, so this is a good way to alleviate some of that congestion. These are basic information. These are station fact sheets. We have these throughout the project. If you want to go more in depth on this, the map will kind of give you a 1-mile radius. So we've kind of planned out like a 20-minute walk, if you will, of different aspects that you can reach from the station. So you can go more in depth on this online and check out what's around each station. Part of the project also includes an adjacent hike and bike trail that we've been working on with the North Central Texas Council of Governments. It's called the Cotton Belt Regional Trail. This project follows the original Cotton Belt Trail from the late 1800s, early 1900s that we were working through as a rail project now. This hike and bike trail will follow the trail almost to the T. There's certain sections where it'll deviate a little bit, but for the most part it goes through. It's part of the Central Texas Council of Governments plan to have a trail all the way from Plano to Fort Worth. So phase 1 of this is for the most part complete. We're still working through a few things here and there, and then phase 2 is set to begin at the start of next year, sometime in Q1. Phase 3, which will continue on. This map covers pretty much from Plano going just past Addison. Phase 3 covers Carrollton all the way to DFW Airport. That'll be constructed once COG and each city works together to find funding and finalizes that plan. So the Silver Line vehicles themselves, these are state-of-the-art, brand new. They are all in Dallas now. So they were manufactured in Utah, built there. We got them at the beginning of the year. We've been running tests on the not on the Silver Line tracks, on the TRE tracks on Sundays and we're gonna start testing here in this area from Plano to Richardson, back and forth over the next few months. So the vehicles themselves, they're seating for over 230 passengers, have overhead storage, bike hooks, large lugging components, CCTV, very safe, very quiet. Basically anything, any amenity you could find for a quiet, smooth, safe ride was included on this vehicle. As I said, segmented testing is here. So we already checking out systems and track, started that this week. The vehicles are slowly moving, but they will actually begin their routes next week. So, and the segment CPAP, as you can see on the map, it starts at Shiloh Road and then it goes just past the UT Dallas station. During this time, quiet zones will not be in effect, so the train will sound its horn if you're not familiar with that. So, what is a quiet zone? It means the freight trains and the Silver Line train won't sound their horn unless there's a hazard on or near the tracks. So obviously it's a warning sign to, increase safety. During operational hours and service, we won't be using that unless there is something out there. But during testing, since we're still testing the crossings and a lot of the systems along the path, the train will sound its horn regularly. So during this time, if you're within the vicinity, you'll hear a horn. This is important because we had freight rail that was suspended for a while and it became back active in February. So a lot of the rail crossings that were dormant for some time became active then. This is communication that we worked with both cities and trying to get the word out. So everyone should be familiarized with that. But just letting everyone know that we're gonna follow a lot of the same pattern once testing starts here next week. So initial startup and configuration, 2 to 3 weeks. As I mentioned already, that's in the works right now. We're gonna do some positive train control implementation over the next, it'll last 2 months, so from this quarter going into the next. We'll be running the trains 2 to 3 times a week, and they'll be going up and down that path. They won't exceed and go throughout the rest of the segment, just here. And then the goal is to do end-to-end testing on the Silver Line corridor here in Q2 of 2025. So, kind of in layman's term, if you will, what does that mean for y'all in the public? That means we're gonna run simulated service from the Shiloh Road station, like I said, past UTD to Waterview, and then it'll go backwards. There is no actual turnaround. We get asked that sometimes. So the trains have a cockpit in the front and the rear, so we'll stop, conductor will go to their side and then go back as well. So it'll stop at UTD and the City Line stations. As we're testing, we'll be checking platforms, systems, as I said before, but there is no passenger pickup and drop off, and no, since these are still active construction zones, we can't go out there and sit on the platform and take video and photos and all that stuff. Safety first is something that we stress. Since we are doing testing of systems, as I said, these are active crossings, so they do work. A lot of the pieces that go into testing also include making sure they work in conjunction with light rail, freight, and then the timing mechanisms. So there will be times that they may not be operational. During those times, we'll have flaggers out. So that way, if you're driving in the area, you'll know when it's safe to cross. And as I mentioned before, there are no quiet zones during testing. So the Silver Line maintenance facility is located in Plano. As I mentioned, that everything starts out at the Shiloh Road station. The facility is located just west of that, near the end of the Darts right of way. So if you look at the map, the building circled on the far left is some property that we're working on that we should be taking over here in the fall and then working through that. The 2 buildings on the right, the one on the far right that you see circled is the parking lot, and then the building you have the power plant there, and then the other little square is our station. So you can see just how close in proximity it is. And then the photo below is a rendering of it. So, all right, so that's kind of an overview of the project. We'll take any questions you have at this time.
Somebody's got a question. Anybody?
Tell us a little bit more about the slide you just, tell us a little bit more about the slide you just showed, because there were no circles PowerPoint pointing at it.
He's got a pointer up there, Mario.
Yeah, so we've got, hey, right, Trey Walker, VP for Design and Construction. So Christine, can I use your mic and then I'll point over here since we're coming up.
Here's a pointer.
Yeah, so, part of the project is, just having a place for the vehicles to be serviced and maintained. Along this, we've been able to identify this location in Plano, just west of the Shiloh Road Station. So if you got, Shiloh Road, over here on the right side of the image, this will largely be our station area. Our station is in the middle of the guideway, right just west of the intersection of Shiloh Road. We also have a break room and rest area for our operators of vehicles for routine service during the day. But just west of there, we'll have our equipment maintenance facility for the Silverline fleet. That'll include a storage yard. So on the rendering below, on the western motion, we'll go west-east. There'll be a storage yard, a fueling area for our vehicles as you move further to the east, right? Then we've got 2 bays for vehicles to be serviced and maintained with pits underneath them, so you can fully access the full vehicle. And then this is a wash building leading into it. And then that has a guide track that runs right back out to the main line of the Silver Line. So this is very convenient and operationally efficient for us. Essentially, the trains start they start their route more or less on route. There's a little bit of deadhead. We just push out of the yard, start at the station, and begin moving westward toward DFW. And similarly, when service ends in the evening, finish service at the Shiloh station and then pull directly into the yard and start the service cycle. This effort is currently finalizing design. We should see construction starting in about November, December this year. Yes, sir.
Thank you. I hope this question isn't just interesting to me, but is this maintenance facility, is this a Archer Western Herzog facility? Where does DART start and AWH start?
This facility is being designed and delivered separately from the corridor itself. So the 2 main lines of track that run to the Shiloh station, that's part of the Archer Western Herzog design build contract. Once you get the track leads into the storage yard and the construction of that, that's being procured separately by the agency.
So it's in our building.
I was just gonna ask, can you say by who's gonna be operating it? Is it
Yeah, we
Herzog?
have a pre-construction services contract right now awarded to Stacy Whitbeck.
Sorry?
Stacy Whitbeck for pre-construction services, and helping us through pricing exercises, with the intent, should we come to an agreement on pricing through construction manager, general contractor, procurement methods to execute a contract for them for construction.
As far as operating the facility, is what I had in mind, is that?
The operations will be managed under 2 separate contracts. One is our Herzog operator, who will be basically anything that moves the vehicles. So DART is contracting out operations for the Silver Line along the entirety of the corridor. And so anything you're dealing with maintenance right of way and movement of vehicles falls under our Herzog operations contract. And then we've procured vehicle maintenance for the next 10 years through our vehicle manufacturer just south there.
Gotcha, but they're not gonna be doing that in Utah, they'll be doing that at this.
On site, right here, indigenous fitness facility. Have any questions, guys? Any questions?
Line before this said that there would be no conflict between the Silverline operation and any freight rail. What is the plan to ensure that there is not a conflict between that? If we're having operators being contracted by Herzog, seems like a bit of a conflict there if their supervisor's telling them, you have to let this freight through and.
Yeah, good question. So we have our freight provider in this segment is CPKC, Canadian Pacific, Kansas City, formerly the Kansas City Southern Railroad. And we have an operating agreement in place with them for their windows to traverse the corridor. Right now, those windows are predominantly overnight. We know that window will have to tighten up dramatically as we go into revenue service. But right now, that's about an 8-hour window on there. They run about 4 moves a week. So we've got 4 nights a week where they pull their vehicle up to the territory, we dispatch them through, they leave the territory, then they come back through in the morning, and they're cleared prior to right now, what is our construction crews, they're there during the day, and will ultimately be our testing of vehicles as we move into the testing phase.
So basically, it's kind of low volume.
Yeah, low volume and more or less time of day dependent, right? Yes, who's got the hours for operating on that corridor in this area. You good?
I also have a question referring to that conflict, actually. So I want to point towards the DFW Airport North Airport and also the DFW Terminal B Airport. There will be conflict such as like text rails like end of the line there and also including Dart's circular line there. How would that, what resolutions would you come into that actually, apart from what you said about the freight rail?
Yeah, Texrail is a partner with us on the project. I mean, I think one of the benefits of delivering this project is that we're able to junction with that service in and out of DFW Airport. So when we start moving towards operating scenarios and drafting our schedules, we want to make sure, one, that we've got the space and the layout from DFW North to the terminal location clear. We've got separate tracks and separate stations at DFW North, but then that our needs are convenient and work for both railroads. You know, we're in the moving people business, and so we want to make sure that we work with our partners on the Fort Worth side to deliver the best service we can.
Any other questions at all? All right, well, then we'll move over to construction and what's going on here in Richardson.
Alright, hello everyone, my name is Olivia Wright, I'm working with Archer Western Herzog, helping out with the Dart Silver Line. So recently hit a couple of major project milestones here in the Richardson area. We do have segment C testing, as we've talked about, beginning here in the next week or so, through the Richardson and Plano area. We've had, the longest rail bridge here on the project, just under, a mile long. The US 75 bridge has been completed. You will see, although we have track complete, and trains will begin testing, we'll still have crews out there doing, other work off the train tracks itself. So you'll see sidewalk installation, flat work crews, things like that, as we close out these crossings, bridges, areas, and turn it over, for testing. So here is one of the two, stations here in Richardson. This is UT Dallas Station, kind of an overhead view that was taken in June. You can see there on the bottom right side is the station platform itself. And then there closer on the left side of the screen, you'll have a parking lot area, for users. The, station itself is over 80% complete. Most of the platform, pavers, items like that are done. The parking lot itself, we do estimate construction on that. You'll see, work ongoing through Q1 of next year for paving operations. Here is a look down on the station. Like I said, pretty well progressed. You can see pavers in, medallions kind of showcasing the UTD aesthetic there, just kind of bringing in the elements of the proximity to the university. Like I said, although the platform itself is pretty far along, we will have work ongoing, and you will see crews out there on the parking lot area. Moving to the east, this is Alma Crossing. There's been quite a bit of work out there, for the northbound, southbound track crossing the road. On the bottom left-hand side, you can see a sidewalk we put in, connecting to an existing, on the west, and then extending it to the Alma Crossing. And there on the top right of the screen, you can see the Spring Creek Trail that was out there has been realigned south of our bridge to allow the Silver Line Bridge to go in. This is the beginning of the US 75 bridge that then extends up over US 75 and then ultimately terminates just short of Center Line Drive. So it's a fairly long bridge. Track is continuous across it. We will still have crews in the area completing punch list work on that bridge. That will cause, miscellaneous, various closures at night. You'll see on US 75 as we close out work on that bridge. And then this is the second of the the two stations within, Richardson. This is City Line Bush that's being built next to an existing, light rail station. The station itself, over 80% complete. It does have power on. The aesthetic arches you can see there on the right-hand side of the screen are in, and then column cladding and other betterment options, that kind of help with the aesthetic element of this station. This station, we anticipate fall of this year, wrapping up work out there. These are a couple of shots of just construction throughout the Richardson area. On the left is US 75. They had concrete ties across the bridge as they're then installing rail. On the top right, they had paving of Redford Road there near UTD station. And then on the bottom right are a couple of shots of the the US 75 bridge as we had crews working in the area. So project milestones. We have the 8 Silver Line vehicles that are testing on TRE tracks. Here, beginning of the next week, we'll have vehicles moving to the Silver Line corridor. UTD and City Line Bush Station are both over 80% complete. These next couple of facts are project-wide. 38 of the 49 rail crossings are over 70% complete or have been completed. 26 of the bridges are over 80% completed. And then 6 of the 7 pedestrian bridges we currently have on the project are 80% complete or have been completed. We finished, or over 80% of, half of the betterment walls throughout the project are over 80% complete. Majority of what is remaining is in the Carrollton, Capel, and Dallas area. And then lastly, we've had nearly 144,000 linear feet of new track has been installed throughout the Silver Line corridor. So with that, we can open up the floor for any construction-related questions.
Is there any estimate for when the trail meeting up at Alma will be open again?
Absolutely. So we have a subcontractor that's working in that area now, putting in a dry fire standpipe. They're anticipating, an August completion for their work that's on the trail, that we don't want to reopen it with, them working in the area due to safety concerns. Once they're done, we'll have about a week or two to kind of clean up and prepare it. So we are anticipating here in the next month or two being able to reopen that.
Any other questions?
Everybody sympathizes here, I know this project's had a lot of delays with everything going on since its inception. Are there any things on your radar that could cause any more delays or any more delays with this project at all? And like how, just like I said, anything on the radar in the future that could, cause anything?
At this point in time, I mean, we've hit our milestone for this area of the project, so we've kind of achieved that. In terms of delays, I don't.
No, project-wide, we're in a good spot. We've, from construction perspective, we've closed out this third, of the corridor, to turn it over to testing, and we've got access to the entire corridor on the western side. So we popped up that, testing schedule in our revenue, service schedule of testing through, the end of this year, on the vast portion of the corridor, end-to-end testing being mid of 2025, and then end of 25, early 26, starting revenue services. That's what we're publishing for revenue service, and we anticipate meeting those, milestones.
So I'd like to add to his question the word regulatory constraints or problems, potential. And I'm thinking, particularly with the Silver Line, of regulatory and or political, challenges, approvals.
We're in a really good spot. We wanna hold to the dates that we've kind of mentioned and the timelines that we've mentioned, but on the regulatory, side, we're in a really good position. A lot of our regulatory we've been able to, conduct a series of meetings with them and workshops with them on our system. Essentially what we are doing is we're following, basis for positive train control on the TRE, since we're being operated by the same entity, with a similar operating pattern and utilizing the same technology. That has been able to, allow us to get, kind of pre-approval on our test plan and our, implementation plan for that, where we were holding significant kind of time for that as well. So we're optimistic on the regulatory environment. Yes, sir.
I'm sure you've answered this question a lot. Would the travel time be estimated between, George Bush and the airport?
Flip back to that. I believe it's 51 minutes. So end-to-end travel times anticipated to be about 55 minutes. We've got, 51 from city line to the end of the line. And then 44 from ET Dallas. Any other questions?
What about, refresh us on the interface with the airport, transportation vehicles there?
With us, how do you get from the train to South?
Yeah, so we'll be coming into Terminal B, and so you'll follow the entrance into Terminal B, into the airport, and then, the kind of local wayfinding to the Skylink up above.
I just did it from where the train lands or ends. It's about a 10-minute walk, and it's all covered.
It's a covered, walkway that takes you to the beach.
Yes, sir.
I know you're a couple years out, but you've got a fare policy review undergoing right now. And I'm curious if you made a determination whether TRE and the Silver Line are going to have common fares, similar fares, or have you arrived at any differences from where you were previously?
Hi, Dee Leggett, Executive Vice President. We are in the middle of a fare restructure. However, right now the fare restructure is focused on our local trips, so trips that are occurring within the dark service area. But because our partner organizations, Trinity Metro and DCTA, Denton County Transportation Authority, are also going through a similar exercise, we have kind of deferred any regional discussions. And so since the TRE is a regional system that traverses both Tarrant County and Dallas County, there could be some trips into Fort Worth that would be a regional trip, so that pricing structure has not been established yet.
What about to the airport? To the airport inside our own service area?
That would be treated as a local trip. So right now, our fare structure is $3 and a $6 day pass, is what we're proposing to take to the board with some minor tweaks to that.
Yes, sir. We've got one more section, so we can come back.
All right, good.
All right, so back in January, we met at UTD, and there was a big concern about connectivity to the rest of Richardson and service with the Silver Line once it opened. So we listened to those concerns and we opened up Route 244. This did lead to the discontinuation of, I believe it was Route 240, but there's a lot of overlap. So this Route 244 that you can see in the orange covers a bit more ground, and it will lead directly to the Silver Line station once it's operational. This route has been in service since June, and the roughly 2 months that it's been operational, we're averaging around between 220 to 230 passengers. So it is very popular, and it is, again, that's why we have these meetings, is to listen, get input, and that's one of the upcoming changes that occurred. So, as we continue through this process, lots of questions come up about service. So we are looking to mirror a lot of our light rail service. So right now we're looking at 5 a.m. to midnight with a 60 train schedule. The trains will run every 30 minutes during peak times during the weekday, which would be roughly rush hour and then end of day rush hour, so you're looking at, I believe that's roughly 4 to 7 p.m. in the afternoon, and then, I believe it's like 6 to 9 a.m. in the morning. During the all other times, every 60 minutes, so you're talking about one train each direction during that time. And then we're still figuring out the weekend scheduled service hours. We anticipate with a lot of traffic going to the airport that may need to adjust, so we're still working through that. And the good thing with this is we also have the ability to adjust the train schedule for special events. So, one thing that has come up, big topic, is, especially in Addison, is with all of their special events. So the train will basically drop you off to where you're within a block of walking to Kaboom Town, Taste of Addison, that kind of stuff. Also, I know Plano's expanding their area in downtown, so again, you're within a short walk of all the things there. And the way, special event service works, if you've ever taken the light rail to the American Airlines Center for a Mavericks or Stars game or a concert, typically we'll have a train waiting for you as soon as the event ends, waiting for about 10 minutes, and then taking off, and then it follows regular schedule. So that's something similar type service we can offer with the Silver Line. Of course, all this is a proposal. We're going to be sharing this with each one of our communities as we have these meetings, and then all of this is subject to board approval. There will be a public hearing, more than likely sometime at the beginning of the year, that you guys will be able to come speak to the board, offer your concerns, and then the board will make an approval before we move forward. So all of this is kind of ongoing. As I said, we're going to try to get as much input leading up to that public hearing, and then you're welcome to come out and speak. So a lot of that is in conjunction with our communication and community outreach. So that's something that we look to consistently improve as the project continues. We provide construction updates, traffic and project updates. You can find them on the DART website. You can sign up for Silver Line alerts via text or email. We also send out mailers regarding meetings, big meetings, and you can also check stuff out on our DART social media. We work with NTTA, which is another partner regarding work in Dallas, and then each city staff regarding communication about whether it's construction, the vehicles themselves. So weekly, we keep close ties with them, making sure that they're aware of what's going on and then trying to answer their concerns before we issue information out to the public. One of the things we're going to do is, as we continue to open up testing, if questions arise, you can send those to us directly. I'll have the information here on the next couple of slides. We'll answer that, or if you reach out to the city, they'll relay those questions or concerns to us, and we'll answer them as well through them. And then we work with our partner AWH to make sure that we answer questions. Most of the time, we're reaching out to homeowners, but a lot of times we understand, people live in multi-unit housing, apartments, schools, they can't get out en masse as well, so we try to go with those individually and answer their questions and concerns as well. So if you're in one of those, reach out to us and we can come out to you as well and give the same presentation or answer your questions specifically to your area. One of the big things, I mentioned schools, we stress rail safety, Operation Lifesaver. It's a nationwide program that encourages rail safety. We have trained people on our staff that go over that, how it works. We offer that stuff at schools to where we go through the whole process, explaining how rail safety works and providing details. And then we also have our own information. You can see samples here of a safety guide that's in English and Spanish, making sure kids and adults are aware of safety around crossings. So as I said before, we're always welcome to come out and talk about the Silver Line. You can reach out to us directly, contacting us at silverline@dar.org. We speak to HOAs, community groups, different groups there. We'll come out to schools, daycares, educational centers, chambers, advocacy organizations, business groups, you name it. Basically, just contact us. If you want to know about the Silver Line, we're happy to show up and talk about it. And then finally, stay connected with us. You can reach out to us. Everything is, primarily digital now, but you can visit us online at dar.org/silverline. You can email us directly at silverline@dar.org. You'll have information there. As I said, if you go to the website, you can sign up for those alerts. You can get those via text or email. If you're a regular DART customer, it doesn't just have to be Silver DART hotline, that number specifically for construction, so shouldn't be, too many things popping up here. As Olivia said, we're kind of wrapping up in this segment of the corridor. But if there's something that looks out of line, or you have a question about something, you can call that number, and typically you'll get a response within 24 hours. And as I said, if all else fails, just step out, yell Chris, and he'll show up and answer your questions, or make sure your needs are met. All right, any questions regarding service or community outreach? Yes, sir.
I was just gonna make a comment. I went to the ribbon cutting when we bought the Cotton Belt Rail Line in 1989. So here we are 36 years later, we almost got it going.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. Question over here. Sir?
So I want to look back towards the service where you mentioned like 5 a.m. all the way to midnight.
Yes.
So I like the part where DAR's gonna have the ability to adjust the train schedule for a special event, not text rail, spoiler alert. But my other question is for services, text rail did whereas like even though it's Thanksgiving, even though it's Christmas, even though it's whatever special events, like they don't they still run the service. And I didn't see you mentioned over at DAR Silverline. Will Silverline have that flexibility, or is it or will it have like one of those services where it's like we don't run on July or 4th of July or Christmas or Thanksgiving or something?
We're looking at,
Everyone wants to answer.
generally we're looking at observing 6 holidays on the Silver Line, so similar to TRE holiday schedule.
Any other questions regarding? Yes, ma'am.
Hey, so on the Dawn Silverline website, I see that you have like a project update section. How often is that updated?
It's updated pretty rarely, so if you, I don't know how often you visit it, but we just recently did I won't say a redesign, but we did a reorg to make it easier to use. Again, some of the feedback that we got from the meetings in January was that the website was a little bit cumbersome. So that, I wanna say, went into effect right before Memorial Day. So it's cleaned up a lot, so you can find a lot of information regarding the current stuff. So that's on there. Anything that we're basically releasing out, you'll get anything major, so on there. I mean, we're not gonna, if we've, let's say, closes a short section of something into a neighborhood, you probably wouldn't be there. But if we're closing a section to DNT, or we're closing, a piece of Jupiter Road, that would be on there. And any press releases or anything that we're talking to the media about, or any information that we're giving to the cities directly, that's also going on there. So it should be updated. Like I said, if there's been a little bit of quirks the last few weeks, that's probably what it's been, because we have been doing some cleanup. But yeah, I think Christine and I talk to them at least 2 or 3 times a day, so.
Okay, thank you.
How are the 30 and 60-minute service times calculated and decided upon, and are there any ridership goals set right now to potentially increase that frequency?
Yeah, so initially it's built around a financial plan, convenience on dollars and operating costs, and then also runtime. So we've got about an hour in service, and then we know we have a peak to operate around. We've got certain locations where we can have needs of the vehicles. So largely, one of those intervals that kind of marries the logistics of running with the logistics of operating dollars on the initial outlay of service, that is that 30-60 scenario. There are some other scenarios that can be developed in the future should we want to increase headways. We can increase up to to a 20-minute. There's funding implications with that, and that's where we come back into our policy board and make sure those budgets are appropriate and the service is warranted.
Any other questions? Mark, did you have any comments or questions you may have?
Awesome. Well, again, thank you all for being here. We're gonna stick around, so if something else pops in your head,